Hey everyone, I'm JJ Stankevitz here at the NFL annual meeting in Phoenix with Colts head coach Shane Steichen. Shane, you just took your first full NFL coaching photo. How'd that feel to be part of that group?
It was good just to see the faces and the tradition, these league meetings and be a part of it is special.
For you coming here and being the Colts head coach, something I wanted to ask you about is in the building on 56th Street, every interaction you have, that's the biggest part of that person's day who you're having that interaction with. How have you handled the emotional load of being the head coach and being that guy in the building?
Yeah, it's been really exciting just to meet the people that are in that building, just a tremendous organization to be a part of it, all the people that have worked in there, that have been there, just tremendous people.
For you, knowing that, hey, if I have a conversation with a staffer or, me in the hallway saying hi to you, that's the biggest part of my day. It's the biggest part of, their day. Just handling that load, because that is a lot to handle, right?
Yeah, I think, just creating those relationships and creating those connections with everyone in that building is big, because I think when you're connected, you're committed. And you got to do a good job of being intentional about your connections with the people in the building, and so far it's been great.
Keeping Gus Bradley on staff, I know you had history with him with the Chargers. What about the way that he plays defense and the way that he schemes defense led you to want to keep him on staff?
Yeah, the 4 years I spent with Gus in LA, just tremendous respect for him as a person, as a leader, as a teacher. Just seeing it, those 4 years, just the way he coaches his guys and how hard they play for him. Again, just a ton of respect for him as a person, and really gets those guys to believe in and play hard for him.
I know sometimes offensive coaches will come in and they'll hire the defensive coach who gave them the most problems the year prior. Gus held you guys with the Eagles to 17 points, the lowest output of the season. What about that game and the way that Gus called that game kind of gave you as then the Eagles offensive coordinator some issues?
Yeah, you know what? He did a great job, just the way he played the front, what he did on the back end from the secondary and the linebacker standpoint. They play hard, they play physical, they are fast, and just very fortunate to keep him on staff.
What about having him as a former head coach on staff?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no question. When you got a former head coach on your staff for a sounding board, bounce ideas off him, when things come up. He's been there, done that, so it's awesome to have him for that.
The process of putting the coaching staff together, getting that settled, now going through the install process, what excites you about this group now that you've really started to talk ball with them and talk specific?
Yeah, it's been great. A lot of the defensive staff is intact, but a lot of the offensive staff is new. But just going through the installs with them on a weekly basis in the mornings, going through the football part of it, just seeing the new minds that we got on offense. Very excited about what we got going there, and really looking forward to getting the players in and working with them.
How intentional were you about not just only hiring people who you had worked with previously? You didn't work with Tony Sperano Jr., for example, just to bringing in some of those different voices and perspectives.
Yeah, my deal there when hiring a staff is I want to hire the best coaches and the best fit, and not necessarily do I need to, have a great relationship with them, but guys that I feel that are going to fit the staff and bring to the table what we need at the specific positions, from offensive line, tight ends, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, that are going to bring, good ideas and really coach their guys and hold them accountable.
Something you talked about earlier this morning was just the energy that this coaching staff brings of, intentionally trying to hire some younger coaches, give them their shot. What about the energy in the building will benefit the players when they get in?
I think you got to bring great energy into that building. The players will feed off the coach's energy. That's where it starts, and we got to bring that energy into the meeting rooms, on the practice field, in the weight room, training room, all throughout that building, just having great energy and just feeding the positive energy and weeding out all the negative stuff.
What have you learned about Reggie Wayne in this process?
Reggie's been great, a former Colt, played for 14 years, started coaching last year, but really loves the part of coaching, the development of players. I know he's got respect from those guys, doing what he did at a high level. So really fortunate to keep Reggie on staff.
As you've kind of gone through this process of, getting the install in, getting the language installed, have you learned anything just about yourself in this process, about your leadership style, your coaching style now that you're in that chair?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just be who I am. Don't try to change who I am, be who I am, be true to myself, and go from there.
What did you learn, too, about in 2021, the last time you went through this, with a new team as the Eagles offensive coordinator, of going through the process of installing an offense, getting to know your players, but then in the season kind of having to pivot a little bit and just being flexible?
Yeah, I think, it doesn't happen overnight. You got to develop, your players and really get to know them and go through that process, in the OTAs and into training camp. And then, you get into the season and you really find out who you are. through that process, and really putting your guys in position to make plays is the biggest things we got to do as coaches.
April 10th, when players do get in the building, you get a smile on your face. What are you looking forward to about getting to know the guys on this team?
That's the biggest thing, just getting to know the guys, creating those relationships with those guys. I think that's the biggest thing, is really when like I said earlier, when you're connected, you're committed, but really being intentional about the, relationship part, getting to know these guys, being intentional about it. And then, I think when, they get to know you, you get to know them. I think it's human nature that you're going to go just a little bit more for someone that you really trust and believe in.
All right. Shane Steichen, Colts head coach here at the Biltmore in Phoenix, Arizona.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.